The world is on the brink of change. The world is changing fast, and while some countries are rising to power, others are on the verge of collapse. Political instability, economic crises, skyrocketing debt, and environmental disasters are pushing some nations to the edge. Could these countries survive the next decade, or are they doomed to fail? Stay tuned because some of the countries on this list may shock you. Let's dive in. 1. Lebanon, a nation in freefall. Lebanon was once known as the Switzerland of the Middle East, but today, it stands on the brink of complete collapse. The Lebanese economy has been in freefall since 2019, with hyperinflation destroying the value of its currency. The banking system has collapsed, with citizens unable to withdraw their savings. More than 80% of the population lives in poverty, and basic services like electricity and healthcare are barely functioning. The political system is also in complete disarray. Corruption and sectarian divisions have left Lebanon without a stable government for years. The devastating Beirut explosion in 2020 was a turning point, exposing just how fragile the nation truly is. The situation has led to a massive brain drain, with thousands of young professionals fleeing the country in search of a better future. Without major reforms, Lebanon is on the path to becoming a failed state. If things continue as they are, the next decade could see Lebanon descend into complete anarchy. 2. Venezuela, from oil giant to economic disaster. Venezuela was once one of the richest countries in Latin America, thanks to its vast oil reserves. But decades of mismanagement, corruption, and authoritarian rule have turned it into one of the worst economic disasters in modern history. Hyperinflation has destroyed the Venezuelan bolivar, leaving citizens struggling to afford basic necessities. Millions have fled the country, making it one of the worst refugee crises in the world. The government, led by Nicolás Maduro, has crushed political opposition, leading to a dictatorship where free speech is nearly non-existent. Despite sitting on some of the world's largest oil reserves, Venezuela's oil industry is in ruins due to corruption and lack of investment. The economy is in shambles, with shortages of food, medicine, and even clean water. Crime rates have skyrocketed, making Venezuela one of the most dangerous countries in the world. Unless there is a drastic change in leadership and economic policies, Venezuela could completely collapse in the next decade, becoming a lawless state where only the powerful survive. 3. Afghanistan, a country on the edge of famine. Since the Taliban took control of Afghanistan in 2021, the country has been in a downward spiral. International sanctions, the withdrawal of foreign aid, and internal conflicts have left Afghanistan in a dire situation. The economy is almost non-existent, with unemployment rates soaring and poverty increasing at an alarming rate. Millions of Afghans are now facing starvation, with food shortages worsening every year. The Taliban's strict rule has also led to a human rights crisis, especially for women, who have been stripped of many of their rights. Afghanistan's dependence on foreign aid makes it extremely vulnerable, and with the international community hesitant to work with the Taliban government, the future looks bleak. Without intervention, Afghanistan could experience even greater famine, mass displacement, and a complete breakdown of society in the next decade. 4. Sudan, a nation torn apart by war. Sudan has been in crisis for decades, but the recent outbreak of civil war in 2023 has made the situation even worse. The country is now divided between warring factions, leading to mass displacement and humanitarian disasters. The economy is collapsing, with inflation making it nearly impossible for citizens to afford food and basic goods. The conflict has also led to widespread violence, with reports of massacres and ethnic cleansing emerging. With no clear leadership and ongoing battles for power, Sudan risks becoming another Somalia, a nation consumed by endless conflict. If peace is not restored soon, Sudan could completely fall apart within the next 10 years. 5. North Korea, a ticking time bomb. North Korea has remained isolated from the rest of the world for decades, but behind its tightly controlled borders, cracks are starting to show. The country's economy is failing, with food shortages becoming more severe each year. Kim Jong-un's government relies heavily on China for survival, but even Beijing is growing tired of North Korea's unpredictability. With harsh sanctions limiting trade and economic growth, North Korea's future looks increasingly uncertain. If internal dissent grows or if China decides to cut off support, North Korea could face a massive collapse, leading to one of the largest humanitarian crises the world has ever seen. Six. Haiti, a country without stability. Haiti has faced crisis after crisis, from natural disasters to political chaos. The 2010 earthquake devastated the country, and since then, it has struggled to recover. Gangs now control large parts of the capital, Port-au-Prince, making it one of the most dangerous places in the world. The government is weak, corruption is rampant, and the economy is practically non-existent. With no stable leadership, Haiti is at risk of becoming a completely failed state in the next decade. 7. Myanmar, a nation in civil war. Myanmar's military coup in 2021 threw the country into chaos. Since then, a civil war has erupted between the military and resistance groups, leaving the country in turmoil. The economy is crumbling, businesses are shutting down, and international sanctions have isolated Myanmar further. With no resolution in sight, Myanmar is at high risk of total collapse. If the conflict continues, the country could fragment into warring states, leading to complete disintegration. 8. Yemen, the forgotten humanitarian crisis. Yemen has been in a state of war for nearly a decade, and the humanitarian crisis there is one of the worst in the world. Millions are on the brink of starvation, and the healthcare system has collapsed. With ongoing conflict between Saudi-backed forces and Houthi rebels, Yemen has no real government, no stable economy, and no end in sight for its suffering. If the war continues, Yemen could become a completely ungovernable territory by 2035. 9. Pakistan, on the verge of economic meltdown. Pakistan is facing an economic disaster. Inflation is at an all-time high, the country is drowning in debt, and political instability is making things worse. The government has struggled to secure financial aid, and energy shortages have crippled industries. With terrorism on the rise again and social unrest growing, Pakistan risks sliding into complete chaos within the next decade. 10. Somalia, a nation without order. Somalia has been a failed state for decades, with no real central government controlling the country. Warlords, pirates, and terrorist groups operate freely, making Somalia one of the most unstable places on earth. The country has tried to rebuild, but without strong leadership and economic reforms, Somalia is likely to remain in chaos for the next 10 years. The future is uncertain. These countries are facing extreme challenges that could lead to their complete collapse within the next decade. Whether it's economic failure, war, or political instability, the future looks bleak for these nations. Do you think any of these countries can turn things around? Let us know in the comments.